Running, 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 and of course, didn't even hit it. So I was listening to the audio on the last one, and I realized I was way too tired to be recording, but I had to get this thing out to y'all anyway. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed at this point, we're gonna go forward with that Spino. Now, Spino's quite a bit of pain. Their topor drops down drastically. The higher level they are, the much more effort goes in taming them. I have been very, very close to failing on different tames, but Spinos can be some of the worst. Jumping ahead a little bit for you, I've sunk over 90 arrows into this guy at this point. Went ahead and made some more. Had to re-aggro him. Never left the safety of the roof over here, so to speak. Finally, come on. Yeah. Okay. So he's finally down. I'm going to show you my parachute skills, because I love these things. Even though it's unnecessary at that point. I'm going to make sure we have no reason to get an injured leg or anything at this point. See his topor down in the bottom right dropping drastically. Yeah. Went ahead and dropped some berries on him, kept him going. I'm going to use berry constantly to keep his topor going up. I really need prime meat because this guy is level 88. And after spending probably 20 minutes real time trying to get him down, he finally drops. I have the next 2 or 3 hours spent taming him. So we need better tools, guys. Went ahead, made my crossbow, upgraded the rest of these things with that level you saw me get as I was actually shooting him. So we can take out these guys right here. These are our best chance for prime, especially since at this point behind the scenes I've already been taking out stegos to no avail. I got about 2 prime meat total, and this guy's taming bar is just not moving for me during this entire time. Now it's called the Ark Giveith. The second episode after this was going to be the Ark Taketh Away. I've decided to give you guys a little more meat, so you're going to see a lot more cuts here. Finally got that guy down. The other I didn't have enough arrows for. I'm going to try and grab this meat, and the other is still aggro to me and just try to evade him the best I can. Got a little extra distance just for that purpose. Alright, here we go. And I gotta say, the whole time I'm doing this, I'm constantly thinking that this Spino is just going to wake up and this was to no avail, and I'm going to have to try to just stick every dino on him and shoot him to the best of my ability. So we got to just keep this in mind as we go. And of course, where's all the prime? I know, got a couple. But you know what? Take what I can get. This is that other Bronto I had aggroed. Thankfully he's de-aggroed by now. He's in a much weakened state compared to where he was. These guys got a lot of health. You don't typically want to be in their range whenever you're fighting those guys. Topor all the way back down to 1,000 already. It's just a constant topor battle, and yet I'm still having to go out and try and get prime meat and things like that. And none of my timers are turned up for the spoil timers or anything, so I'm in a tight radius trying to get this stuff. So I'm glad we still got this guy here. You see, I decided to recruit Don Carno here and finish the job. Amazed not to see him giving me any tail swipes immediately. I think that this poor Bronto is just given up. He's lost the will to live without his mate. Alright. Yes. Finally. I fully expected to lose the Carno right here, by the way. But at this point, I'm willing to make a lot of sacrifices to get a Spino. It's much less a higher level one like this. Prime. There we go. I'll take 3. That's fine. And once again, I'm going to go around and clear the upper area for stegos and things. This is, as I say, guys, a consistent battle between topor and taming bar. And I've spent, at this particular point, well over an hour and a half. Or sorry, well over an hour trying to get this guy tamed up. And I'm getting tired. I'm hitting drop all and nearly dropping everything off of him, which would pretty much cut my taming down to nothing for a while, as you see here. So we do tame him. It works out much better than expected. Fluffy has been reborn. I know you may not have known the old Fluffy, but he's looking down and being very proud. This Fluffy is not going to die so easily. So while we can't really utilize Fluffy just yet, we can use Mary here, our little frog, if you want to call that little. So yeah, trying to avoid these snakes here. They're at her lower level. She can't take very many more hits than I could. A lot of your tamed dinosaurs and things will handle poison and things like that better than your character at the lower levels. But anyway, running around, grabbing some blue drops. Gotten 3 or 4 different things at this point, and just seeing what we can find and exploring, enjoying the fact that I have something that can get me from one place to another in a decent amount of time. And yeah, it's definitely been the most useful mount so far. Fluffy will be the meat and potatoes of my group once I can actually put a saddle on her. And yes, Fluffy is a her. I know, I was surprised too. So trying to grab some extra stuff. Picked up some plant species X. Great. So, yep, that was a snake. Titan boa. And I see my topor rising on the right. I should have been more concerned with that and less concerned with trying to defend myself, as you can see. So, the arc giveth, and yet the arc taketh away as well, as we can see now. So, those drops and everything I've got, unfortunately, I'm still carrying them at this point. So, at the end of this video, you're not going to see as many loot drops and things, simply because they're about to be gone. Yeah, there we go. So, I died over here, as you can see. My base is not really that far away, but, well, it's far enough away. I am not going to turn the map pen on to try and locate it. And actually, even if I did exit game to turn that on, I would not be able to recover my body, as it would no longer be there. So, shortly after, I start making a couple of runs trying to recover the items and save Betty from the swamp. It did not work out as well as I'd hoped. So we may not be able to fly, but we can definitely glide, and even when we're naked. See those little rocks on the map? It's the closest thing I would know if I could figure out where I was. Problem is in the swamp, even though there's rocks on the map, I can't really discern where I was relative to where I am. And this is a problem. I'm gonna need to make a compass or something going forward, even if it's just to keep it at base for corpse recovery and things of that nature. So if surviving with the best armor we've been able to gather and produce at this time has been difficult, so, you know, surviving on the ground naked is much harder, as you can see, particularly in a swamp. I had no intention of using my other parachute so quickly, but it was use it now or die to the raptor now. So rather than generate another corpse in the area, I went with plan B. Now, I'm just gonna try and survive as long as I can to find the corpse. If I don't find it, I'm gonna move on, guys. I'm really just as much looking for Betty's green text over the forest. It will show you as HUD over in a fair distance. It's not gonna tell you across the entire map or anything silly, but it's definitely a helpful guide. I mean, you know, if I just knew the direction relative to where I am, and not trying to bite that Circo right there. Yeah. I hate the swamp sometimes. It's all good if you've got a chunk of plate armor between you and them or something like that, but quite vulnerable out here. And as you've seen, one bite from a snake can knock you out. I'm not feeling the love, Ark. Not feeling the love. So a series of things happen at that point. I never find my corpse. My game crashes. I see Betty has died text in the background at some point. I come back to base and I make this compass just for use with it. I'll probably keep one at base. I'll probably have one around for a while, but sooner than later we'll unlock GPS and things like that, and we'll make good use of everything as far as navigation is concerned, because as you can see, it's easy to lose everything you currently have by zero navigation ability, if you will. So, yeah, one step forward, one step back. At least we've still got Fluffy and base is fine. Now we get the joy of remaking all of the things that we had, trying to improve upon them as well, which I have no problem doing. Moving forward, you'll see here I've already started the job of finishing everything, but we're about to have a major improvement. I don't know if you remember me mentioning the fiber raining from the sky, or sorry, raining from the heavens, but that's what the sickle will do for us instead. In place of it just coming down and falling into our laps, we'll just harvest it like it's nothing at this point. Obviously one of my favorite upgrades. If you wanted to see how many times I would just run out and spend 20 minutes gathering fiber, you would have probably not spent the time doing so, but hey, worthwhile. We won't be using any Quetzals, at least not riding them or anything of that nature in this, because we won't be flying. That's the highest level Quetzal I've actually seen in a game thus far. I decided it was time to level Fluffy up a little bit. Much more fun to level dinos when you can ride them, but we'll just enjoy this majestic Quetzal appearance while he takes care of business. So it does turn out that, wow, Spinos have an Achilles heel. And it is actually his Achilles heel. Right here, look at these little guys. These compies know the weakness. Okay, so maybe it's the fact that he just can't turn inward enough to actually bite them. And I can't jump on his back and manually do it. Or, you know, run over him several times, as they do stomp damage, it seems, at times. So these little guys are just sitting here whittling him down. So it doesn't matter that they're relatively insignificant to him. He can't do anything about it. So we gotta try and save the giant Spino from the tiny compies. You see, he got lucky, he got one right there. Maybe eventually they would die, but I'm pretty sure that Fluffy would take quite the beating over time. Come on, Fluffy. I'm trying to get a good shot here. I can't. I'm worried more about shooting Fluffy and dealing more damage than compy bites, because the crossbow does do improved damage over the bow. I'm not gonna kill Fluffy with a few shots, but I want to add to the damage that I'll have to repair by feeding him meat en masse. Alright, Fluffy. Sit still. Bad Fluffy. Yep, shot his foot. Sorry, shot her foot. Why I decided to do that instead of actually whistle passive at a distance, I can't tell you. I obviously was more worried about Fluffy than plan. So There you go, guys. Just come with me. Eat me. Leave Fluffy alone. And it's time for them to die. I'm gonna keep moving forward with Fluffy here. Alright. A real chance for you to prove your weight, Fluffy. Okay. If I can just manage to hit it. There we go. I'm wondering why it was circling and just kind of behaving strangely, but decided not to worry about it. Go get it, Fluffy. It's din din time. And they decided to swim together instead. I know. And then, I don't know how well you can see it. See these mega piranha en masse? That's why it was swimming in a circle. It was trying to bite them, but much like the compies, it just can't turn a tight enough turn or attack far enough at its hind quarters, if you will, to actually get them. Thankfully, the other Spino ran to land. So Fluffy's happy as can be. Good job, Fluffy. Wait, what's going on over there now? Okay, something else died. And I have to think, are those mega piranhas still now just a problem for me? Probably so. Fluffy's still on passive though. Yep. See them all? Spread out now, thankfully, but still a pain. I hate mega piranha. So, now to take Fluffy to a better purpose though. We're doing some leveling and things, but I've been in great need of metal. That sickle that I made actually uses more metal than a pike or a crossbow or the other basic tools that you utilize early on, which is a bit strange, but it's worth quite a bit more than what it costs in terms of what it'll do for you. And of course, those mega piranha still have a role to play. And this is just another reason why they're annoying. Typically they're trying to eat me, but the raft will spare me from their problems. You know what? I think that now it's time to have a little bit of pro use of the spyglass, if you will. I actually did not even know if I could bring up the whistle menu while doing it, but thankfully we can learn. Now the real trick's lining it up right when he passes through, because if it's not while it's directly on him, it won't work. Bumped escape, sorry. Come on. Mega piranha. At this point he's not in any real danger either. They're not really going to be hitting him very much either, but a nuisance for sure. I will say that Spinos are the ATV of Ark. You can go and do virtually anything in the game in relative safety with Fluffy here. Now, unfortunately, you can't make them follow at a, respectable distance relative to size or anything like that. Sometimes they'll just clip right into you and things like that. But, c'est la vie. Alright, so the reason we're going over to this island over here, or this section of the island I should say, is not to punch piranha in the face, but to collect metal. During a little bit of exploring I did with our frog, that is now, rest in peace, Mary, we've been able to notice things like big chunks of metal over here to gather, and Fluffy has a decent storage capacity, so we're going to take advantage to that. I could throw some on the raft and go back and forth, but it's actually relatively far from the raft. Even though it seems close, it really isn't. So rather than spend all that extra time, I figured I'd just grab enough for a good while and make the best use of the metal that I possibly could. And I don't know if anyone else gets annoyed with long jogs and things like that, but you know, if I could do this in real life, I probably would, as dangerous as it would be. I'm just kidding. I don't think I'd let a Spino follow me. We're just gonna glide in style, guys. Trying to keep an eye on Fluffy. Got her weighed down pretty good. Want to try and make sure that we're not going to get out of her follow range. Now, I am very surprised it's not immediate. There's a respectable delay to how much you can control it, but you can actually control your glide on the parachutes. And you can gain speed if you continue to go in a direction. You can angle it off a little bit so you don't touch ground when you don't want to, like right here. And it's incredibly helpful early game. And it more or less removes the necessity for flying in terms of short distances where you're going to be using elevation, things like that. Also the grappling hook, of course, for other projects, if you will, but that was only recently added into the game and we haven't unlocked it yet. I'm certain we'll make use of it going forward. But, so my pockets are full of metal. Fluffy's blinging. I don't know where we put all that metal. I don't really ask Fluffy these kinds of questions. You know, it's not the kind of thing you ask a lady, so I'm going to try and get that yellow drop if there's time. But unfortunately, we aren't high enough level for that. But when I mentioned you could control your glide, I didn't realize that if you're decent at it, land wherever you want. Alright. So guys, decided to make a flare since I can't make a rifle yet, but I will very soon. I'm about a level or two away. I'd never used a flare in the game before. They're relatively expensive, but I wanted to see what it looked like compared to normal night with a flare lit. I like it quite a bit. And at times where it just seems too dark for y'all, rather than playing with gamma and things like that, since I'd rather you actually get a real idea of how the game really looks, then maybe on occasion we'll just have a few flares around or something. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. We're going to cut it off here, move on forward. As you can see, we've made a lot of progress this time, and we're just going to continue from here on. Thank you guys for watching. Like and share as you wish. Take care, y'all.